Howdy folks, I'm Brian, and here's some Reddit. Alright, so first off, someone mentioned that a little while ago there was a story about someone's brother-in-law, and basically he was peeing on her stuff. There's an update to that. I might read this, but it is actually way longer than what I can possibly read in one sitting. So keep that in mind. I mean, if I get enough people in the comments saying for me to read it, I'll read it. But yeah, it's a long one, and it's a bit of a strange story, though. I'll put it in the comments below, so if you do want to read it and whatnot, then you can read it. But suffice it to say that it takes a turn. It takes a bit of a turn. The light agrees. So suffice it to say, I potentially will cover it. It really just depends on what folks say. So if you want to see it, let me know. All right. Our first story is titled, "Am I a Jerk for Yelling at My Mother After She Kept Insisting That I'm Sexist?" I'm currently 30 years old, a male. When I was 5 years old, my mom was pregnant with my younger sibling. I have no older siblings and just one younger sibling. Before my parents knew the gender of the newest addition to the family, they asked me if I wanted a brother or a sister. I told them I wanted a brother. My family is religious, so my parents encouraged me to pray to God to bless me with a baby brother. A few months later, my parents found out they were having a girl. They convinced me that having a sister would be awesome, and soon I started praying to God to give me a sister. I love my sister so much. Never once after her birth have I wished that I had a brother instead. Anyways, my wife is 28, and she's currently pregnant with our first child. We don't know the gender of the baby yet. We were doing a video call with my parents, and my mother told my wife that I was sexist since I had initially wanted a brother and had a gender preference for my younger sibling. I told my mom that I love my sister and that I would love to have a daughter. I also told her that I was a little boy when I said I wanted a brother and that I've changed now. No, OP, that's not how this works. If you're 5 years old, you never change your opinion ever. There is no such thing as growth. My mother said that I was still sexist since I wanted a daughter and not a son. I tried telling my mother that I would be happy regardless of my child's gender. But my mom told my wife that old habits never die and that she should be careful and think about the baby's well-being around me. I got angry and yelled at my mom to shut up. I abruptly ended the call and confronted my wife, assuring her that all I care about is the baby's health and safety. My father later texted me saying that while he doesn't agree with what my mom said, I went overboard by yelling at her since she is my elder. Am I a jerk? Alright, OP. Normally, I would be on the side to say that yelling at someone is probably not a good solution. And, I can totally understand, the knee-jerk reaction here. I don't think that necessarily was still the healthiest reaction. I think you probably should have just ended the call and said, "Look, I was 5. I didn't know what I was talking about. You're the one who asked me whether or not I wanted a brother or a sister, and that's that." So, you wouldn't have even decided about what gender or not gender your sister would have if you weren't even introduced to that idea. So, for her to blame this on you is a little bizarre. Again, I think you should have just told her that, ended the call and just said, "Look, I'm not going to have this conversation here. I think you're being rude. I think you have gone, across the line here. And if you want to call back and apologize later, you're welcome to, but I'm going to end the call." So yeah, I honestly, yelling is probably not the ideal thing to do here. As for not yelling at her because she's your elder, people who have this mentality that you need to respect elders, I think oftentimes what they mean when they say this kind of stuff is that you need to, acquiesce to your elders and do what they tell you to do, because if you don't, then that's, not respecting them. And I think that hopefully he's not using it in that case, but I think like the fact is that you should treat everyone with mutual respect, and every person deserves at least some level of respect. So that's what I would think there. The fact that she's planting these seeds of doubt into your wife's head when she's pregnant, oh my goodness. Like, I can understand why you'd be frustrated, because like it's going to be hard enough on your wife as it is, and she's going through a hard time given that she's pregnant for the first time, and she doesn't really know. There's a lot of unsure things here, and now she's being told by your mom that you're sexist and that you're going to not treat the baby well and stuff like that. And like, I would imagine like that would be kind of harrowing to hear, especially given that like this seems like out of the blue. So if your mom isn't normally behaving like this, she might be really disconcerted. So yeah, not the jerk, but what in the world? Are you sure your mom wasn't joking? If she wasn't joking, I'm seriously worried about her mental health. She started with the 5-year-old boy wanting a brother and twisted it into a warning to your wife that you could be a danger to your own child. That is not normal, appropriate, or sane train of thought. She twisted it again when he said that he would be okay with a daughter too. He can't win. For whatever reason, she's decided he's sexist. Not the jerk. Tired old people pushing their opinions. When they don't get their own way, pull out the respect your elders card. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my wife to calm down because my mom's just trying to help? My wife is a 35-year-old female and she gave birth to our son a couple of months ago. Since then, she's become a zombie, like in personality and appearance. I found out for the first time how bad it is to be up close to somebody who is out in the Arizona heat doing errands and chores, who also doesn't shower for 3 days straight. When I talk to her, she's always passed out in front of the TV or by her son's crib, crying. When we try to go out in public together or want to go for a swim in our pool, she always wears very much laundry day clothes, and even when we're by the side of the pool, she just dips her feet in and wears 10-year-old sweatshirts around over her swimsuit. It's really killed the love, tolerance, and attraction between us. My mom visited us today, and my wife was wearing boxy old clothes that have all kinds of fluids on them. My mom said that the baby was sleeping right now and suggested that my wife go take a shower and get into clothes that were more pleasant. And my wife said she was fine. My mom patted her on the back and said that her hair is so stringy and that can't be good for anyone, and asked when was the last time she had showered. She said that she used to always smell so good and that she dressed so well and that she could make more of an effort. She ended up with, taking care of your appearance doesn't stop when the kids come. My wife got exceptionally upset and accused me of side-eyeing her stretch marks when she wore old dresses. She then left the room and she said she was taking a nap. My mom said that she sees that she's not welcome right now, and I told her not to be so ridiculous and that this was my house too and that I wanted her to stay. I went to where my wife was and told her that my mom wasn't exactly wrong in noticing how she's basically given up on herself and that she used to love doing and styling her previously long and shiny hair and getting compliments for it. I also said that my mom was almost ready to leave and that we should never make my mom feel unwelcome when she's just trying to be helpful. My wife snapped at me that my mom could do whatever she wants, and then she started crying and saying that she wanted a nap. Am I the jerk? OP. There is something wrong here, and there's, this could be like postpartum depression or any number of things. This is just not a good situation. Like, your wife is basically crying out for help, and all you care about is, oh, she's not dressed nicely, or whatever. She's crying by cribs. She's not dressing well. You're giving her side eyes when she wears dresses and, making a fuss about her stretch marks. OP, this, she clearly is suffering from some kind of issue here, and I think that you you need to be more supportive of her, and not worry so much about the hygiene at the moment, because it's clear that her mental health is the thing that has problems. So some of her wanting to wear, some of these old clothes with stains and stuff like that on them are probably that maybe she is what she's comfortable in right now. Maybe she doesn't feel comfortable in her old clothes. Maybe she feels like she doesn't fit them well. Maybe she feels like she's, depressed, or any number of things. This is, postpartum depression is a very real thing. And, I don't think you're helping here. And I don't think your mom's helping either. And while maybe she might feel better with a shower or whatnot, I don't think she needs to be told that, well, her hygiene isn't necessarily good, or whatever type of stuff. So, I don't know. I do think that you folks are coming from a place of concern for her, I hope, but also talking about how her appearance and how blah, 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 just makes it sound like you care more that she doesn't look good or smell good or whatever kind of stuff, or that you're not getting any or anything like that. And it sounds kind of heartless in a lot of ways, when you should just be concerned about your wife's overall well-being. So that's where I'm going to kind of fault you for here, is not that you shouldn't be concerned about your wife, because you should be concerned about your wife, but you're concerned about her for the wrong reasons, it seems like. And your mom is too. Info. Is this not your child? Why are you not helping to the point where she's reached a breaking point? Why are you more concerned about adult fun time than your wife's well-being? Why would a woman who gave birth, is clearly doing all the work, want to sleep with a boy who's clearly caring more about his mother? You're the jerk so much, time to cut the umbilical cord wrapped around your junk. I really love how OP is so concerned with his wife's well-being. She doesn't smell nice or look nice or have adult fun time with him. That's the problem. Never mind that she's caring for an infant, coping with a massive amount of hormone fluctuations, and adjusting to having a totally different body while sleep deprived and potentially depressed. None of that is an issue for OP. Yeah, I think I did not mention this, but OP needs to help care for the kid if he's not doing any childcare stuff. You're the jerk. She just had a baby. Why is she doing all the chores and shopping? Seriously, and during a pandemic in Arizona. Yeah, both very good points. Our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk? I'm a 23-year-old male, and I asked my girlfriend, a 22-year-old female, to take down a painting of her naked body from her living room. My girlfriend has been painting since high school, and she loves painting the human body. Every now and then, she enjoys painting her nudes, some of them detailed, some of them kind of like silhouettes, if that makes any sense. Recently, she painted a full-body silhouette nude, and she was so happy with it that she wanted to frame it. So, I went and ordered her a fairly large frame for the canvas and sent it to her house. And a few days later, I went to her house, and the painting was hanging up in the living room. My girlfriend really doesn't have anyone over because of COVID, except her family to watch her 1-year-old daughter, and her roommate who often has her boyfriend over. I told her that the painting looked amazing, but it's kind of awkward seeing my girlfriend's nudes hanging up on the wall, and thought it was weirder due to the fact that she has a child living in her home. She said she doesn't think it's weird, and she thinks it's empowering, and that her roommate is fine with it. And it's not like it's an actual nude on the wall, but it literally is. I told her that I'm not really comfortable with other people seeing my girlfriend's body like this, and she got upset and told me it isn't about my comfort, but about, once again, being empowered. And she said she wanted to put up more paintings and more decor in her home. I felt like she was being a bit of a jerk for the comments she made, but she doesn't think she's done anything wrong. she thinks I'm being controlling, and she thinks I'm not letting her freely express herself. She even called it toxic behavior, and I started to feel a little bad when she said this. Am I wrong for not being okay with this painting up? Alright, OP, I'm gonna have to say that you're the jerk here. I mean, the thing is that in relationships, you're allowed to set boundaries, and like if this is a boundary breaking thing, then I mean, maybe you need to find, if this is a deal breaker, then maybe you need to find a new partner. Plain and simple. I honestly think that you are being controlling here, and I think that if this is something that she wants to do and she likes and it's empowering for her, then she should be, by all means, allowed to hang up pictures of herself, especially if her roommate doesn't find it objectionable. And as for, like, the child living in her home, I mean, why is it that you need to make her body, you know, something that's sexualized in this respect? Like, this is art. Not all like nudity needs to be sexualized. Like, the human body and the human form is a beautiful thing. The thing is that, like, throughout humanity's history, there have been many, many cultures that have celebrated the human form and the human figure and, you know, regarded as a beautiful thing. And it's great that your girlfriend thinks that her form is beautiful. And it also doesn't sound like there's any real details here. And given that, like, there aren't any details, I don't know why you would still be basically, you know, sexualizing this. And I think that that is a mistake. I honestly do. I think that, again, you're being controlling here. I think if this is a deal breaker, if you don't like how she exhibits her art, then maybe you should find a new partner. But again, I honestly think that this is just something that isn't that big of a deal, and you're making it a bigger deal than it should be. You're the jerk. It's her painting of her body in her house. There's no reason to push this issue that has nothing to do with him. You're the jerk. She's right. You are being controlling. You're the jerk. You actually said my girlfriend's body, but your whole post reeks of ownership. It's not your choice. You need to make peace with that. You're the jerk completely. Maybe you should try having a deeper conversation with her about empowerment and how the naked body isn't inherently sexual. If I were someone and they pulled this stunt on me, I'd seriously be considering leaving them. So if you value your girlfriend and want to stay with her, get your insecurity together and have a real talk about her paintings to her and what they mean to her. You never ever get to decide what she does with her body in her own home. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.